All right, y'all, it's the next morning. We're back over here at Steve's shop. You got the Camaro here. About to get it raised up in the air and start pulling the transmission out of this thing. All right, we got the Camaro up in the air. This thing came from Port Aransas, Texas, so it's got some surface rust and like some oxidation and stuff on it, but I don't see nothing, no cancerous rust so far. But we do need to replace some outer tie rods on both sides. They got a little bit of play, and then the control arm bushings are kind of worn, but we got some weird stuff going on these transmission lines too. We got to pull these rubber lines off, and I'll probably replace them because they look a little wild. We'll do something different for that. But yeah, this has got big 3-inch X pipe all the way back with some resonators. I think that the heat coming off of this has caused this pinion seal to leak, so we got a pinion seal and a diff cover gasket, new fluid, so we're going to do that too if we have time today. And what I want to do eventually is probably have a muffler shop take these and point them out and have them kind of pointing out each side in front of the back tire to get that noise out from underneath the bottom of this thing, because it's got a loud drone at low RPM. So we'll get those turned out and get the exhaust coming out from under the bottom of the car and go from there. But it's got an aftermarket panhard rod with Heim joints on it, so that's a nice panhard rod. It's got tubular lower control arms and all that good stuff. So it's got drilled and slotted rotors. Looks like a new O2 sensor there. So yeah, this is a pretty sweet. We are about to start on the transmission now. Alright guys, so we've been fighting this thing for a while now. The headers will not let the engine rock back far enough for us to get the top bell housing bolt and the one to the left of it. We've been fighting it forever. We've messed with all sorts of conglomerations. Check, this is our latest contraption to try and get that sucker out, and I mean, there's no chance. It's still kind of above the firewall, so we're having to go at an upward angle and try and get a socket on. It's just not happening. I try to come from the top, from the sides. I try to reach in with a socket on a smaller like a smaller ratchet, smaller extension, and just try to reach in there, and that wasn't happening either. So we're at the point now where we just mounted this back up. I'm gonna just go ahead and pull the headers. Did not want to have to do that, but I'm gonna have to pull the headers so that they can move up some, so we can tilt the transmission and everything back further so we can get those bell housing bolts. So that's where we're at. Alright, so the headers are almost off here. This side is all unbolted and loose, spark plugs out. This side, spark plugs are out and all the bolts are loose, and I just gotta go through and take the rest of them off. We don't have to even take them all the way out, we just need them loose so we can tilt back about another inch or so to get some clearance in there to get to that top bolt. But for now, we are on lunch break. Got some big old sandwiches. Alright, the transmission is out of this bad boy. So yeah, we got a nice Yank converter in here. I believe it's a 3000 or a 3200 stall. So we're going to take this guy out and try and get as much fluid cleaned out of it as we can, since this fluid is pretty contaminated. So we're going to get this sucker all cleaned out, and then we will get this transmission resealed, get the converter in it, and start slapping it back in. is alive. We didn't film too much there on the last half because, man, this thing fought us so much. So much. Every step of the way fought us. But we're back in. We got tranny fluid in it. She's all warmed up. Exhaust back on it. Hey, look, the check engine light went away. That's funny. Back together. All right, y'all, I didn't film the end of the night the other night because we left and the car would still not shift past second. It's like, what the heck is going on? I forgot I had broke the vehicle speed sensor wires because I had it routed wrong and I had to pull on it some and it just broke. So the wires were weak in one spot. I don't know, maybe. But I got the car home. I limped it home back in second. It was so late. I was so defeated. I had work the next morning. I just limped it home, didn't film nothing. Next day, soldered out those VSS wires. Good to go. We got all the gears, and so we're about to take it for a cruise real quick and see how it drives and everything. This is my first time driving it with all of its gears. Well, second time driving it. The first time I just took it around the neighborhood and it shifted into third, and then I stopped driving it. But so we're gonna go see how it feels. The exhaust all the way out the back, just get rid of that drone. There's a pretty good drone there at the lower RPM, but I'm planning on getting it ran all the way out or dump it out the sides in front of the rear tires. I'm still debating on which one I'd rather do, but yeah, man, this thing's running great. We're in overdrive right now, cruising 65, 70. She is driving great. I got all the tires balanced and everything because we did have a shake out of the front. But yeah, this thing's running great. This thing's got some pretty short gears in it. It's cruising about 2,000 RPM at 65. I feel like the Trans Am's a little bit lower RPM than that cruising down the highway. Be interesting to open up the rear end and see what gear's in it too. We need to open it up and check it out. There is a little bit of a whirring sound coming from the rear end. So, I don't know. We need to open it up and check it out, make sure there's not any excessive wear. It was leaking from the pinion seal, and whenever we did the transmission, we topped off the rear end, and it took a whole quart, and that thing holds 1.78 quarts in the rear, so it was low, and it's probably been that way for a while. So hopefully we don't have any crazy excessive wear or anything back there. This thing's crazy. It's so loud. Alright, so just took off the brake rotor and found this. I'm looking at this race here though, and look at all the pitting in this thing. This diff fluid was real low for a while. That's rust all on those bearings, so and then find a way to get these bearings off there because they're pressed on. We'll try and get these bearings off.